What's up, guys? Rado here with Mark Tilley from Dirt Bike Magazine, and both of us, we had quite some time on this YZ250. We want to give you a perspective from two different angles. Mark over here from the pro rider, and I'm here the weekend warrior. Mark, what do you think about this YZ250 build?
Well, I mean, you guys did a great job on the build. It looks amazing. I got to shoot it in the studio and got to be on the bike for photos and video. And I mean, the bike looks amazing. There's Cerakote in a bunch of places, all kinds of cool bolt-on parts on it. You guys did a bunch of stuff internally in the motor that it's kind of a little different than what most people would do. The transmission modifications and all that kind of stuff are a lot different than what the average guy would do. You guys went above and beyond to do that kind of stuff. So, I mean, the bike was a fun bike to ride. We did have it for a lot longer than what you wanted us to have it for, doing testing and doing stuff like that. So I know that that was a little stressful for you, but we wanted to get stuff dialed in. When you do this much stuff to a motorcycle, it's kind of hard, and a lot of people think that, oh, you just bolt stuff on and you go. And as we know at the magazine, that it's not really that way. Like there is a lot of bolt-on items on this motorcycle, plus all the stuff done internally, and sometimes that stuff doesn't always work together. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to do, and you have to get together and make it kind of mesh together. So this bike, guys, kind of built it a little bit more for what we would call East Coast off-road. It's more tight technical stuff, and that's where the bike really excels. Once we got suspension, race tech dialed in the suspension, and once we got all the motor mods kind of working right with the right fuel mixtures and all that kind of stuff, everything worked great. The bike was a blast to ride. It has
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, it has a bunch more bottom end than what a stock YZ250 does. That's what you guys were going for with the motor mods.
Well, we asked Tom Morgan to give us exactly that. We wanted to have a bike that is off-road ready. We don't really take this bike much on the track. So we asked Tom Morgan to give us this bottom power and not crazy hit when you come on a pipe. I think we kind of accomplished that. Would you say so?
Yeah, you did. And if that's what you're going for, this bike is perfect for tight technical stuff.
These are some nice trails. Nice bottom power. I didn't clutch it at all. That was pretty good. So Morgan porting for the bottom power is good. The little hops. This is cool, check it out. I think that's 215 for local guys. You might know 215 highway. Woohoo!
It's kind of, you took the stock YZ250 power band and just flipped it upside down, because usually it's building power and then it kind of goes away, and then now it has all kinds of power down low, and then where the YZ250 would usually excel before, it kind of, you have to short shift it and do stuff like that. But for what you guys built it for, it works out great. This bike is a fun bike to ride. It's really, it's softer than what we're normally used to, but when you get into technical trails, it works really well. So, you know, it took the Yamaha fun to ride, easy to ride power, changed it around a lot. This bike now, I guess, isn't that far off of what the Yamaha X model would be. It has that transmission and it has that kind of stuff. For me personally, the third gear is a little bit awkward to me, and I think for some of the faster guys, it might be a little awkward because you kind of come into it and then you got to shift through it real quick. So
I don't know, for some reason this wide ratio transmission on these X bikes, the third gear is shorter. The first and second is same as YZ. The third is shorter, and then fourth and fifth is taller. On a trails like this, when I need to short shift my gears and I don't really hit the pipe too much, this bottom power works so good here. This is what the porting and the transmission was made for. The power is right there when you need it. Just crank the throttle and it's right there. It's good if you stay on kind of flowy trail in the third gear and you always have that bottom power, nice power, it makes sense. But if you are like Mark, you don't really ride on the low RPM. Like he was on the pipe all the time. Like it's so different how I ride and how Mark rides. It's like a big gap between us how we ride. So for somebody like Mark who is always on the pipe, I think it really doesn't make sense to have that short third gear. It would be much better with the standard third gear from the YZ, right? Well,
and I think you said it right. I think you said that if you're on a flowy trail and you're in third gear, I think that's what the Yamaha engineers, when they were doing the X model, because it does have maybe some of the same modifications, some of the same stuff internally to give it that bottom in and to give it that power right off bottom. So I think that's what they were going for. I think that they were going for, okay, if you are in third gear and you are doing that, then you can flow through stuff. If you're not, you're just going to shift right past it. So I think that they did a good job when they did it. It's just for some people, it's not what you're used to. And if you do ride this bike and this is the only bike you ride, I mean, fortunately, I get to ride a bunch of motorcycles. Right. So this is just one of the mini motorcycles that I got to ride this month. So that part's kind of nice, to where if you this is the bike you're riding, you can kind of, you know, get used to it and kind of go from there. So I think that's how they designed it. Okay. For some people, that might not work. Right. But for some people, it would work out great. So you know, there's when we're doing all these project bikes, like I was saying, there's a lot of people think that, oh yeah, throw stuff at it. Just, you know, this looks cool and that looks cool and all kinds of stuff. But, you know, you gotta have an idea of what you want in the very beginning. Well, if that's what you were going for, like we knocked it out of the park with this one. Yeah. If that wasn't what you were going for and you're looking for more of a race bike and more of a Grand Prix style bike, then yeah, this bike wouldn't be that motorcycle. But that's not what we were going for
Yeah.
in this particular build. So, in this build, we were wanting to have or you were wanting to have a nice off-road bike to rip around the trails around the house and do that kind of stuff, and go out on the weekends. This wasn't something you were going to race.
No.
So as a magazine, we do the same stuff. Like we build these motorcycles, and some of them are racers, some of them aren't. Like we're at the track so much that there is a lot going on there, but I mean, as much as we're at the track, we're out on the trails too. I mean, you've seen us. You've been with us a couple days, and so you've seen what we've done. So it's definitely lots of fun, and it's a great experience to be able to build these motorcycles. And you worked with a lot of great people as well.
Exactly. It's there is something special about building an old two-stroke. Actually, this YZ is not that old, because even 2021 is very similar to this one, right? So big question I have for you, Mark. You've been on the brand new YZs, so you know how they feel, you know how they ride. So how far am I with this bike, the fully built 07, compared to brand new YZ250 if you get it off the showroom floor?
Naturally, the YZ250 or the YZ250X, which this bike would be more comparable to, you're pretty close. I mean, there's probably, we're in a kind of a weird area right now to where sometimes you can buy an older motorcycle that's blown up, and if you know how to work on it and you know how to rebuild an engine or rebuild suspension, you can do it, and you can do it for relatively cheaper than what you can do a brand new motorcycle, and then put all this aftermarket stuff on it. So you're not that far off. Mainly because Yamaha hasn't changed this motorcycle. I mean, they made suspension updates, and then they made, I think in 05, 06, they made some suspension updates with the fork.
Yeah,
and then
that's what we have here. It's 07, so we got the latest.
Yeah, so you have the latest suspension stuff. You might not have the latest styling, but really that's all kind of cosmetic. There is an airbox difference in there. But
I actually did that on purpose. I wanted to have old school airbags with the UFO, upgrade kit. And then the front is all from 2020, 2019, the same stuff. So I kind of wanted to mix these two together.
Yeah, well,
like
the UFO kit, when it first came out and restyled it, it was awesome. And you know that Yamaha engineers were looking at that restyle kit to go, okay, let's do something along in here, because I mean, they made it more like what their newer bikes are. But this bike is a staple, and I can't fault Yamaha for not changing it, because the bike's great. Like, it's a great motorcycle for average guy to pro racer. It's a great motorcycle right off the showroom floor. So you kind of wonder, like, okay, well, you guys got to change, you got to do stuff. And it's like, well, why? I mean, this bike is a great motorcycle when it comes off the showroom, and the fact that they haven't changed it very much is kind of a nod to the Yamaha engineers, because they did a great job. This thing is competing with brand new, engineered KTMs and Huskies and other stuff like that. So, it's you did a good job on the build, but I gotta say you had a really good platform to start off with.
Well, absolutely. There's a lot of people that will kind of argue that YZ250 is probably one of the best two-stroke bikes ever built. What do you think about that?
I got to be honest, and it stood the test of time. I mean, I think once they switched over, I think 04, 05 was when they did like the aluminum frame or something like that. It might have been a little bit earlier, but since they did the newer style aluminum frame and stuff like that, they did little stuff here and there, but they haven't really changed the bike. And it's standing the test of time. So, it might be one of the best ever two-strokes. I know it's one of the longest running two-strokes, it seems like, because they haven't really made very many changes, and the bike is still great. So, you got to give it to them. I got to thank Yamaha for still making these motorcycles, because they're making, more people are, okay, well, now I have my 07, well, I'm going to buy a 2021. And, then that comes up on Craigslist or whatever, and and that it's a whole new life for somebody else. So it's a really cool thing to see, and that you could get an 07 and be able to build it just as good as a brand new one. Exactly. That's an amazing thing.
Exactly. One thing that I noticed right away when I took this bike apart, this thing is so simple to work on. Like the wire harness, there's probably no, I cannot even call it wire harness. There is a CDI, a couple of wires that go to your stator, and then a coil, and then a kill switch. That's about it. Like you have nothing there. It's really simple to work on. Everybody has parts. All these aftermarket companies, they make bunch of parts. People know how to work on these bikes. The engine builders, they know how to modify them. Tom Morgan has the packages that can just give you exactly what you're looking for. So it's really a great platform. As Mark said, I didn't have a hard job making this bike great, because it's already a really great bike stock. All right, my friends. Well, Mark, thanks again for doing this with us here on the channel, and thank you for featuring the bike on the cover of Dirt Bike magazine. I was really stoked, grateful to see it there, and the story Mark wrote about it is really great. So I really appreciate it. Hopefully, work together more in the future. I have more bikes to come, so guys, stay tuned. We're gonna have some fun with Mark together in the future. All right, Mark?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Thank you for letting Dirt Bike Magazine be a part of it. You can go to our website and see the Two Stroke Tuesday on this, and then the full video from Travis Fant will come out on our YouTube channel on dirtbikemagazine.com as well. And then, so like I said, if you want to see more on this motorcycle, the full story will be available on the website once the magazine goes off of the newsstands. So it's dirtbikemagazine.com, and it's usually in a two-stroke or in the features. But you can search Dirt and Iron on the Dirt and Iron and YZ250 on the website, and it'll pop right up. And yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a lot more stuff. It sounds like we might have a KTM in the works, and kind of go from there. So we'll do something a little bit different, and try to keep everybody guessing on what we're gonna do next.
Cool, sounds good. All right, guys, that's about it for today, and don't forget, whatever you do, stay motivated. See you guys later. Cool, Mark. That was fun.
Yeah, that was easy. We can do that all the time.
Yeah.